When it comes to welcoming and friendly fan bases, you would think Pokémon comes to mind. The series is all about making friends with your Pokémon, trading with one another, and camaraderie between trainers, and for the most part, you'd be correct. The Pokémon community is extremely friendly and willing to help one another out. There's many wonderful people in this community expressing their love for Pokémon, and it's pretty great, but like everything, evil lurks within. The 7 deadly sins are things we all fall victim to. Whether we like it or not, no one is perfect, and the community reflects that no matter how hard people try to hide it. As a community, we have committed a number of those sins, so why don't we take a few steps back to see just how terrible this community really is. Inspiring, I know. So hopefully taking a look at this community as a whole will help us realize our wrongdoings and as a result cleanse this terrible place. Who am I kidding? We're fucked. Let's start with pride. To be prideful is to feel an inflated sense of your own accomplishments and just sort of feeling like you're better than everyone else. This one was kind of a no-brainer. What type of person in the Pokemon community is the most notorious for being prideful? The Gen 1ers. Back in my day, Pokemon— No! Stop that. It's perfectly fine to have a favorite generation, but when you constantly put down new ideas and innovation from newer Pokemon games, you kind of come off as stupid. Take a step back. Look at what your beloved series has become. It's the #1 grossing franchise. Shouldn't you be proud of that instead of a handful of mediocre Pokemon in arguably the most boring region ever?
Yeah, but this one has fat Pikachu.
Wait, what? All your generations suck! Give it up for Pikachu! That's just scratching the surface of pride though. The competitive scene can be pretty toxic at times, which is true with most games. However, there's those select few people who gloat about their expertise and belittle those who are new to the series for not knowing every single mechanic the game has to offer. I play competitively occasionally, and after receiving that knowledge, I can never play Pokemon the same way ever again, and I hate it. I hate receiving my starter only to realize it has a bad nature and having to live with that knowledge. Yeah, the game is still gonna be easy, but just knowing my Pokemon could have been stronger than it already is bothers me. Like, it has untapped potential. Well, you must be saying, why don't you just reset for another? Well, that kind of defeats the whole point of playing casually. If I did my best to have the best possible stats for a Pokemon during a normal playthrough, not only will I have less fun, but I'll also be making the game easier for myself as a result, making the games even less fun. Yeah, Jimothy over there has not a clue in the world what an individual value is, but at least he's having fun. Also, tournament winners who gloat about their victory years after they've won. Yay, I'm happy for you, good job, but do we really need to be reminded of a victory you got in 2011? I'm sorry, but nobody cares. Also, YouTubers who think they're better than everyone else. Why isn't the screen changing? Oh, fuck you! Before we get into our next sin, I have a special announcement. I have merch now. Real merch that you can actually buy. I've come such a long way, and it's all thanks to you. There's a hoodie with all of our sprites together along with my logo on the back, a shirt, or stickers. I also have a members tab now where I post updates on future videos along with other announcements. If you're interested, the links are down below. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you. But wait, there's more. Use code BILLUP for 10% off.
The fuck did I do?
That's right. This is a limited time offer only available for 1 month. That's BHILLIP. You know him. Billup. My name Billup. Use code Billup. Anyways, greed is the excessive desire for material things and overall selfishness, which sadly is far too common in the Pokemon community. I'm not gonna say who, but we all know what type of people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the PokeTubers milking the absolute living hell out of anything they can. Leaks? This breaks the meta? What the fuck? New news? No. These are all just half-ass videos made to garner clicks. Nothing more, nothing less. It's just kind of disappointing to see. There's not a lot of people trying new things and innovating content creation here. Though there are a lot of good PokeTubers out there like TrueGreen7, Candy Eevee, TheRogueRenegade, and the OraGuardian, just to name a few. What? Scalpers are the absolute worst thing to have ever plagued the earth. As if things weren't already expensive, scalpers have to go out of their way to purchase as many things as possible and mark up the price. And not a lot of companies have a problem with this because a sale is a sale at the end of the day. And if things keep getting rarer, the more often products will sell out. The only people benefiting from this artificial scarcity is the companies and the scalpers. How do we counteract this? Stop buying from scalpers. The hell are they gonna do with 25 PS5s? If nobody buys them off them, they just wasted a ton of money. I guess they can use them as a coaster or something. The Pokemon card craze has thankfully died down, but there are still many going out of their way to steal them. I never got the whole craze of watching someone else open Pokemon cards. It just kind of makes me jealous. There are people out there who aren't even fans of Pokemon buying them in bulk just to sell whatever they get their hands on. If that's not the epitome of greed, I don't know what is. Huh? Well, apparently Game Freak wasn't in my vocabulary until now, and they emptied out my wallet entirely. Well, that was fast. Game Freak is notorious for their greed, and yeah, sure, you can argue that they aren't as bad as EA or Activision, but that's the bottom of the barrel. You're saying they aren't as bad as the bottom of the barrel? The only thing down here is Illumise and Volbeat, Boruto and Alex Matrix.
What's up, guys?
A lot of you may not know the lengths at which Game Freak will go to snatch $1 from you. Seriously, if you have $1, you better keep a close eye on it or the Game Freak ninjas will get you. Back when Pokemon Bank was still a thing, they essentially charged us for $5 for 1.5 megabytes of storage a year, whereas Google gives us 15 gigabytes of storage for free, not to mention releasing the same exact game with minor differences every year or so, and pumping out low effort games despite having millions of dollars. They even lied about us receiving higher quality animations and models, and I suspected that they were preparing it for the next game, and it turns out I was right, so I guess I can forgive them for that. No, like, actually, these new models and animations look incredible. Good on you, Game Freak, but that doesn't excuse the other anti-consumer behavior. If I delve any deeper into this, I'll open a brand new can of Weedles, and this video is just gonna go off the derails, so let's just move on. Go fight in the comments section or whatever. If you thought Game Freak was bad, just wait till you hear about the Pokemon community. The fans never seem to be satisfied by anything Game Freak delivers. No, I'm not a hypocrite. I actually really like Scarlet and Violet. It's the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game in such a long time, but there's a lot of people who despise this game because of a few issues it has, the main one being the frame rate. And yeah, it gets atrocious at times, and I was playing through OBS, so you can only imagine how much worse it was for me, but I looked past that. The frame rate can always be improved with updates or modding. It doesn't take away from the fact that the game was still really good, especially compared to Sword and Shield. The only redeeming factor about the game were the characters and the music. But back to the point. No matter how much Game Freak delivers, fans will always find something to complain about. I mean, just look at Twitter. That place is riddled with them. Go follow me. Sometimes I see all those posts and just wish that I could take them all down with like a DMCA notice or something. And someone over at Nintendo had the same exact thoughts because anything they don't like is gone. Like some sort of buster call or something. There have been literal years of work down the drain because Nintendo didn't like the fact that fans were making better fan games than Game Freak. And yes, it's true that they own the intellectual property, but as long as they aren't receiving any profit from it, what's the harm? It's the same ideology I have with pirating. Pirating games that are currently on store shelves is terrible, but what do you do once they aren't being sold anymore? You either have to rely on the eShop, which Nintendo either shuts down or neglects to add any games to it, or you have to buy the game secondhand for an extremely high price. At that point, pirating is excusable since you aren't taking away any profits from the company. The only profit anyone would be making would be the owners of already bought copies of the game. But Nintendo is stupid, and by saying this, I'm probably ruining any sponsorship opportunities with them in the future, but hey, I gotta be real here. Someone on this platform's gotta speak the truth, and it's gonna be me. I just think the way Sega handles fan games is a lot more wholesome. They don't take them down. They actually appreciate that fans love their series so much that they go out of their way to make their own games. I mean, that's how Sonic Mania was made. Sega decided to hire a bunch of fan game creators, and we got a masterpiece because of it. But unfortunately, from what I heard, they had some internal fighting, and Sonic Mania 2 is now never gonna happen. But hey, at least Nintendo hasn't took me down. Lust is an overwhelming, intense desire for something, but can also be considered disordered desire for or inordinate enjoyment of sexual pleasure. Let's just address the elephant in the room. What are you doing here? There's a scary amount of Pokemon Rule 34 out there. Not even the Pokemon are safe. There are no laws against the Pokemon rogue. At this point, you don't even have to add Rule 34 to your search. Simply looking up Gardevoir, Hexmaniac, or Lopunny gets you some pretty scary results if you're in public. And Markiplier's Smash or Pass video on every single Pokemon didn't exactly help the situation because now everyone's going after the Pokemon. I don't want any of you sick fucks near PetSmart anytime soon. When a new Pokemon character drops, it's only a matter of time before the internet makes it do unspeakable things. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be scared or impressed. There's actually 34 rules of lust in Pokemon. For more information on this sin, search up Pokemon Rule 34. Wait, that actually does help in this situation. Anyways, I don't know how much longer I can dwell on this topic before I get demonetized, so let's just move on to the next sin. Envy is the feeling of discontent or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck. I'm sure we've all felt envious at one point or another. There could be many reasons to be envious. Maybe you're jealous that the Pokemon version you chose is getting the short end of the stick with DLC. Seriously, I feel bad for Shield players. Who the fuck is this? Maybe you're envious of someone's luck with shiny Pokemon. Because I swear to God, I complete my Pokedex, make a shiny sandwich, hunt for hours, and Alex over there just happens to find one out of the blue. What a coincidence, Alex. Who are you working for? We've all seen those huge collections of Pokemon merchandise, right? I can't be the only one that's jealous of all of that. It's so cool, I want it all. I'm assuming that the majority of you watching are from the West, so it really sucks when a Japan exclusive Pokemon thing gets revealed. I'd argue that Pokemania in the West is what made Pokemon so successful in the first place, but alas, Japan does make the games, so I guess they can make the calls here. But I just want to experience the Japanese exclusives too. It's not fair. Whatever reason it may be though, envy thrives everywhere. Gluttony is described as overindulgence and overconsumption of food, drinks, alcohol, and other recreational drugs, or wealth items, particularly as status symbols. Overindulgence in something could perfectly describe anyone who binge watches the Pokemon anime. I know you gotta catch up, but sometimes it's okay to take a little break every now and then. Those aren't the only people who experience gluttony though. There are a type of person far more notorious in this category. Just who am I thinking about? Shiny hunters. You could see them as extremely dedicated or just flat out insane. The amount of time some of them have spent shiny hunting shinies scares me. Please stop. This isn't healthy. Just kidding, you can do whatever you want, but just remember to drink water, guys. I'm concerned with some of these shiny hunters. When I was younger, I used to shiny hunt occasionally, and then one late night, I found a shiny and killed it because I was sleep deprived. That was the last time I shiny hunted in quite a while. This doesn't have to be limited to just shiny hunting though. You could also overindulge by sinking hundreds of hours into Pokemon just by playing the games. I've seen some of your playtimes. You guys are dedicated. I think the most amount of time I've sunk into a Pokemon game is like, what, 500 hours in Sun? I would check my old 3DS, but the battery kind of started expanding and I was scared it was gonna blow up, so I threw it out. You could also overindulge in products. There's a lot of different Pokemon products out there, so I'm sure a lot of you have spent at least a little money on them. Hell, I bought myself a Pikachu Squishmallow and oh my god, it's so soft. Those products can end up being pretty pricey though, so it's best not to get sucked into the rabbit hole before it's too late. Wrath is just simply described as extreme anger, and we have no shortage of that in the Pokemon community. Seriously, all I have to do is open Twitter and oh my god, they put his head on a stick. You guys fight each other over anything, and it's kind of sad. I could say that Pikachu is a cool Pokemon, and someone would probably call me a sexist, racist, misogynistic, ageist, specious, and anything else that ends with is. Okay, I'm only half kidding. Someone did actually call me specious though, because I didn't like naming my Pokemon names like Jimothy. They deleted their comment, but you know who you are. It seems to only be a problem on TikTok though. I don't know what is it with TikTok. People just get really fucking angry there for no reason, but hey, beats the algorithm. A day doesn't go by where there isn't a new controversy in the community. And it's not just people fighting each other. They also fight the Pokemon company itself. They are never happy with anything. Pokemon could deliver the most amazing, most incredible Pokemon game in existence, and somebody would still complain. I thought Sword and Shield were complete garbage, and they are literally the worst Pokemon games I have ever played. But some people still think it's better than Scarlet and Violet. What? Despite Scarlet and Violet's flaws, it's the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game in a very long time. Look, I get it. You don't like FPS drops. There's still things Game Freak can do to make the next games even better, but this is definitely a big step in the right direction. So why does it have a 6 when Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl have an 8? What the fuck, Rebecca? It doesn't just end there. I feel really bad for Game Freak because they received death threats because of Sword and Shield's failure. And like, yeah, I didn't like the games either, but maybe don't tell the developers to kill themselves, please? There's also this one Twitter user who does a lot of great things for the Pokemon community, but I swear, every time I see them tweet something other than that, they seem angry all the time. I'm sure they're a really nice person, but it's hard to envision that when all you ever see of them is them complaining on Twitter. Of course, I won't say who it is because I don't want people coming after them, but a person I will mention who is already notorious for this kind of behavior is Verlisify. It's kind of impossible not to associate him with Wrath. He always seems to have a problem with everybody. Funny story, I actually used to watch Verlisify back then, not because I agreed with anything he was saying, but just to see what kind of batshit insane thing he would say next. He starts beef with everyone in the Pokemon community, and after saying this, I might be his next target, but oh well. I won the fight before it even started, so who really cares? He's attacked a lot of people in the past, and it's a whole rabbit hole in and of itself. This isn't an open invitation to attack him though. Just leave him be. I think it's better for everyone that way. Sloth is reluctance to work or make an effort, also known as laziness. I wonder who that perfectly describes. Game Freak is notorious for not putting enough effort into their games, and it's really sad because they have the potential to make amazing AAA titles, but they don't really have a reason to. Most of Pokemon sales come from merchandise, not the games, so I don't think they'd be willing to put in the effort to make a high-quality Pokemon game. They could just hire more people to work on the games, but they don't. They said they want to keep their team small, which in my opinion is just shooting yourself in the foot, but hell, what do I know? Game Freak isn't the only one who's lazy. There's people even more lazier than that, if you can believe it. Ever heard of PK Hex? That's right, Jenners. They're too lazy to even play the game. That or they just hack in illegal Pokemon to use in tournaments, which is really scummy since not everyone has access to those tools. But I have a very simple solution to prevent hackers from having any advantage in competitive Pokemon. If everyone had access to the same tools, then nobody would have an advantage over another. What I'm trying to say here is that the Pokemon company should make a website similar to Pokemon Showdown. Everyone can create their own team, as long as it's illegal. And the only thing you have to worry about is strategy. There's no longer a need for people to spend hours upon hours grinding for the Pokemon to have perfect stats. Most people didn't do that anyway. This, as a result, would make competitive Pokemon more accessible to everyone. It'd literally be impossible to cheat. But the Pokemon Company hates good ideas, so we'll just have to deal with all the hackers and whatnot. Which only proves my point that they're lazy fucks! Not everyone is a terrible person in this community, but that's not to say anyone's perfect. I could make a video about the 7 virtues, but who wants to see that? That sounds boring. Subscribe if you haven't, buy some merch, and I'll catch you all later. Bye!